Hello, this is Darren from darrenscorner.com, and welcome to our part one of our tutorial series here. In this series, we're going to be creating a scene in Tumult Hype, kind of our splash scene with about 4 different elements in it. So it's a nice introduction if you haven't used Hype to learn a little bit of the interface. As I mentioned earlier, we can go to the tumultwebsite.com/hype and download the regular version for only $49.99. We can download the trial for 14 days as well. And once you've done that, please navigate to darrenscorner.com and click on the tutorial section. Inside here, we have our various videos, and down here, Part 1 instructional files. If we click on that, there's a zipped folder that I'm going to download and save to the desktop. A second here. And I've already extracted it. It should contain 4 different files here. We've got a hype file, a background PNG, a triviainfo.js file, and then Part 1 elements. If we click and look at that, it's just a simple text file, and it kind of shows a summary of the steps I'm going to do in this tutorial. I've included this for each part. So we're going to create 4 elements here inside Tumult Hype. So I'm going to put this off to the side, but if you want to have this up while working on it, that might be helpful. I'm going to close this down and click on Part1 start.hype to load this file in. And I'll resize it here. Now when we open this up, we can see we have a scene, and I've renamed it Splash. There are no elements currently in the scene, and if we go over to the inspector under scene right here, we can see the width is 1024, the height is 768. So that's kind of the image size we'll be using, and we've got a black background color. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my background element. So I'm going to go to Element, Image, and I'm going to choose background1.png. Let me put this right here, and you can follow along. Just put it down there. So I'm going to say Element, Image, and I'll look around. I'll go to my desktop. Here's the Part 1 files, and I'll choose background1.png and open it. And it just looks something like that. And then I'm going to verify its position. It should be at left equals 0, top equals 0, width 1024, height 768. So if I go right here under metrics, left is 0, top is 0, width and height, yep, that's all good. And then I'm going to give it a unique ID called background1, and that's done right here. So it's called display name background1, unique element ID. I'm going to put in background1. Okay, that's our first element. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to create a text element, and I'm going to put this off to the side for now. But I'm going to say element text, and it starts with the inner HTML currently says new text. I'm going to click right there, and for right now I'm just going to kind of put a placeholder. I'm just going to say trivia title here. We'll see this game will be configurable, so if you want to do baseball trivia, you can then say baseball trivia. If you want to do movie trivia, if you want to do sports trivia, whatever, you can put that right there. I'm next going to click right here on the inspector for typography, and I'm going to change this to Arial Black. I'll make the size 64, so it's pretty big now, and I'll change the color right here to yellow. So it contrasts pretty nicely with that. And then under metrics, I'm going to change this. I'm going to put it at left equals 0, top equals 50, width is 1024, and the height is 120. Something like that. I forgot a step. I want to go back over here to typography and make sure this is centered instead of left aligned. So centered right there. So I've got the inner HTML, the typography, the metrics. All I need to do now is under identity, it calls it text. I'm going to call this instead title 1 for both of these. Now one thing that's very important, make sure this is lowercase because we'll be referring to it with JavaScript, and JavaScript is case sensitive. So here's my first text element. Let me add another, and I'm going to just say by Darren Pearson. It actually says by your name right there. You can put your name in there or my name, whatever. And we'll go and change, select it here. One thing to make sure, you have to double click and click the pencil icon if you want to change inner HTML. If you want to change things like position and text color, just click it once so you see this outline. Okay, I'm going to go in there. Again, I'm going to use the same font, Arial Black. Size 36 works out pretty good. Color, again, yellow. And again, make sure it's centered. Go over to the metrics and we'll do the same thing. Left equals 0, top equals 200, width is 1024, height is 80, something like that. And lastly, we're going to put a button element, an element button, and it says button on the inner HTML. I'm going to click the pencil icon and change this to start. There we go. We've got start. If we go over to the element, I'm going to say fill style none. Oops, none. So then we're able to kind of see through the button right there. But I'm going to go down here and change my border width and border radius. The width was 15. The radius is 25. And the border color is, you click right there, and I'll make this yellow. There we have it, something like that. With button elements, we have a normal, hover, and press state. I'm going to go to the hover state and click on the border color and make it red. So when I mouse over this in a web browser, I'll be able to see that. I'll go back to the normal state. Under the metrics tab, I'm going to go in and, 1 second here. I'll put this at left equals 303, top is 400. Width is 420, height is 140. And for the typography, again, I'm going to use Arial Black, size 72, so it's a real big start button. I'll make this yellow, so it's easy to see. And I believe buttons by default should be centered. I'm going to click in the hover state now and make sure that the text changes to red when I click on that. And then lastly, I give it a unique ID. It's called button. I'm going to give it something a little bit more descriptive of start button and go from there. So we got our first scene. If we want to preview this, I can click right up here. We can preview this in Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Safari, whatever browsers we have installed right there. So I'll just do Chrome. I like Chrome. And it pops open that. There we go. Trivia title here by Darren Pearson. Start. When I hover over it, it does that. When I click on it, the button currently doesn't have an action. We'll change that in, I think, step 4. So that's the end of part 1. Thanks so much for watching.